Welcome to More Details, Please, with your hosts Emmanuel and Angela Williams, where we dive deeper into conversations with visionary entrepreneurs to discover what it takes to turn passion into purpose. Listen to real-world stories from self-starters and trailblazers, and discover strategies and innovations shaping a greener future. Whether you are a seasoned business person or just starting out, let this be your go-to resource for inspiration and actionable tips for success. Join us now as we create a brighter, greener future together.
Welcome. Happy New Year. Welcome to More Details, Please. We're here with our new episode for the year, and we're so excited that you are here with us. We missed you. Welcome back. It feels so good to be back with you again, diving into every deep conversation, all the details that shape us as entrepreneurs and community builders. I am Angela Williams.
And Emmanuel Williams.
So for 2026, we got a fresh start, fresh energy, fresh conversations about one big thing. That's really, really close to my heart. Being a lifelong learner, it's all about learning. That's right, learning how to turn your passion into a profitable business, how to adapt and how to keep showing up, how to fulfill your potential, and much, much more.
Well, Angela, I just love sitting next to you, being your podcast partner. I learned so much from you, and I just want to thank you for making all of this preparation so that we can kick off our new year. Our passion is really sharing the knowledge and the wisdom that we have accumulated over the years and giving it to you, our listening audience, so that you guys can be a more empowered people because we know that that's where our blessings flow from. And we know that is the secret to a successful life. So learning is a big part of Angela's repertoire. And I am really interested in listening and hearing what she has to say and giving some feedback on my own.
Fantastic. After 25 years, we definitely have experienced a lot, and we know for sure that learning never stops. We're always learning. So we got that passion and experience. So for today, we'll be kicking off the season with a conversation about mentorship, something that is very dear to my heart. We really focused on lessons learned and lessons passed on.
Well, mentorship is really interesting in that, in my thinking, I'm just going to say for me, mentorship has always been in this box to say, well, I need to find someone to mentor me, to teach me so that they can help me in whatever endeavor I am getting involved in. And a lot of times, mentorship is really about helping ones with their career or giving somebody advice and all of that kind of good stuff. But in my thinking, and I'm thinking about this topic, mentorship starts when you're a kid, when you're a little baby. Mentorship starts, your first mentor is your mother, is your parents, is your siblings, is your teachers, is your community, is your culture, is what you've been exposed to. That right there kind of shape your value in terms of who you start to attract as a mentor and what is it that you admire about any particular person that you want to model after them and have them to teach you.
Yeah, so let's say this. No one wants to be a know-it-all, but we definitely want to have that guidance. And you're right, it does start when you're young. My mother was a mentor for me at a young age, and the thing that I remember most amongst lots of other things is how to be a lady and always speak and act and behave like a lady. That mentorship has carried through in so many aspects of my life, even today. So I know it was very valuable, even though I don't think I sought her out as a mentor. She's my mom, after all. But I definitely learned so much from her in doing that.
Well, when you think about the definition of a mentor, it is somebody that you trust and is somebody that you are willing to learn from. Now, learning can be learning positive or it can be negative. You can have influences around you, especially as a kid, where you may have brothers and sisters that exemplify a behavior that you learn from. And a lot of times you may either um, absorb that behavior and model that behavior, or you can learn to understand you want to be the opposite of that behavior. And in that, it is the individual that really should have enough awareness or not to choose which behavior pattern that you want to model yourself after as a result of them being your mentor. So that is a really deep psychological part that I would like to kind of explore in terms of mentor mentee relationships, because it can go both ways. You can model and pattern your behavior after somebody that is create destructive behavior, or you can model or pattern your behavior after somebody who exemplify positive behavior.
That's right. So you wanna really understand early on, at least I did. Early on, I understood w who was having an influence on me and if it was positive or negative. I mean, I know for sure that my mother wasn't trying to make me her mini me, nor are my sisters. I mean, I learned a lot from my older sister, Benny, who was independent at a very early age. She knew what she wanted, she went after it, and she did it. And it's funny. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said, ever since you were a kid, you've always been grown. And thinking of that from a parent-child relationship, that could be a negative, but it's one of those things where it's awareness. That's what I think she meant, is that awareness that you're talking about, Emmanuel. That it's just giving and getting advice as you need it, so you're seeing the bigger picture.
Yeah, because I think that a mentor, we all are mentored and mentees at the same time. You can't be a mentor, you can't have a mentor without a mentee, and you can't have a mentee without a mentor. So any and everything we do, we exemplify a behavior or a pattern where whoever is looking at us or who we are looking at is going to be affected one way or the other. And that's why, even walking into a store, standing in line at the grocery line, you are a mentor and a mentee. Just understand that, because people not only look at your behavior, they look at how you dressed, they look at your mannerism, and they feel the energy that you exude as you walk into a room. And not only that, you are observing other people as well. So we have to always be on our P's and Q's everywhere we go when we talk about mentor mentee, because that is, I think, a part of um, discovering who we are and aligning ourselves with those desires or those behaviors or those images where we can pattern ourselves after and affect people's lives around us.
You actually made me think about something. I remember, it was a big scandal. Charles Barkley said, "I am not a mentor. I'm not here to lead people along." And it was so interesting, that he said that, because regardless in the position that he's in, people watch him and they look up to him no matter what. So mentoring is not about, again, creating a mini me. It's more about seeing the big picture, is about accountability, it's about encouragement, and hopefully it's about avoiding painful mistakes. If you can allow your mentor or the community at large help you to avoid big mistakes, that is definitely worth its time all night and day without even thinking about it.
Well, I thought about this. Is your ego a mentor? I thought about, is your body, because you can learn from your ego. You can learn from your body. Your body will tell you, are you feeling good? Are you feeling sick? I mean, is your body a mentor? Can you learn from your body? Can you learn from your ego? Because your ego is always around the corner. And if you can learn from your ego, to me, I believe that is a liberating thing because I think that that is the purpose of your ego is to learn from it. And so when you start to look at mentorship from those different type of perspectives, then you be more introspective in terms of yourself as opposed to expective by trying to find somebody to pattern and modern yourself after. I think both of them coming together and trying to understand because it's all a learning process. Um, it is part of mentor-mentee development, but at the end of the day, it is, your ego could be a mentor, your body can tell you things to be a mentor, but the awareness to be aware of what is going on, I think is the key of really trying to tap into that so that you can infuse that awareness into whatever it is that you are trying to exude or accomplish or achieve or learn, because I think that is the key ingredient in helping you find your path in terms of what you desire and how you want to live your life.
Well, another way to find your path is to ask somebody because we make mistakes. When we started Detail Experts over 25 years ago, we had a lot of passion. I'd say you definitely had a lot of passion about cleaning cars with this new patent pending method of steam, but we didn't have a lot of experience. So we had to seek out individuals that had experience in the things that we wanted to learn. And I think that's when mentorship takes on more of a formal role because you can have informal mentors, you can have formal mentors. I would say my mom was an informal mentor. But when I think of Bob Purtle, who helped us franchise Detail Experts all those years ago, he became a formal mentor. I mean, literally, we had meetings to talk about accountability. We had meetings where we could explain the big picture where we were headed. And there was a lot of encouragement in that too. And because he had so much experience in franchising, he helped us avoid some of the very large mistakes that could have happened early on in our franchise career. So we envision an eco-friendly steam cleaning auto detailing company. And we wanted to be very clear on how we could change how people thought about car care. We could be mobile, we could be eco-friendly, we can come to you in a way that was professional and safe for the environment.
Yeah, I agree. That is, I think, is another level of mentorship. And I think that that is a conscious decision that you make to say, this is what I'm into in terms of education or just say entrepreneurship. And now I'm trying to consciously seek people that is around me that can help me to get to where it is that I'm trying to go. And I think a big part of that modality is we got to be careful about um, um, why is it that what is it that we're doing? Why are we doing what we're doing, and how we're doing what we're doing? Because I think mentorship is a part of learning, but a big part of learning is your ability to be able to enjoy yourself. Is your ability to be able to achieve a certain amount of success so that you can help others. And a big part of that is fear. You know, a big part of being a mentor and a mentee is to be able to understand how to overcome certain barriers and certain hurdles to get to the next step. And a big part of that is overcoming your fear.
Well, mentors generally, they step in and they realize that we are something special. We have something special. My mother said, I realize you have something special. Bob Purtle said, you guys have something special. So he helped us formulate that and put it into a structure where we could then offer it as a repeatable process over and over again throughout the world. So we know for sure that we had something good. People loved what we did. They smiled. They were excited about what we did. We had plenty of opportunities and connections, but it was all happening so fast. And we realized that we needed that outside perspective to know how to put it all together. And that's really what Bob helped us do. He helped us put it all together in a package where it was repeatable and we could then repeat that same success over and over again and do the same for other people by allowing them to use our proven system.
Yes, and mentorship is not just a continuous relationship sometimes. You have certain people come in your life for a season and then they're gone, but you learn so much from them. You have some people, and I think a lot of times when we talk about mentorship, a lot of times we're just like two ships passing. And sometimes some people hold on, try to hold on to that mentorship relationship, and it does create more harm than good. I give you an example for me. In starting my engineering career, I wasn't an academic person. I didn't feel comfortable about my academic. I was an average student, but it was a guy named James Horton. And he came into my life and he was able to see something in me that I didn't see in myself. And he was able to pull something out of me that I didn't know I had within myself. And those ingredients, when I talk about compassion, when I talk about love, when I talk about patience, it's those ingredients when you talk about being a mentor, is what you have to really, really be connected to in order to really get the what you need to get out of that individual so that they can see it in yourself. And it really comes down to energy. It comes down to vibration. It comes down to, me and you are in the same room and my positive energy is not going to stoop to your energy because your energy needs to come to my energy. And a mentor understands and have the patience and the love and the um commitment to be able to sit there and be able to love that person and not judge that person to the point where they can see little gaps in the relationship or little bitty opportunities that that person can awaken to and being able to pull that out of that particular person. And I think that is the hallmark of a mentor because you can have all the knowledge in the world but people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you can be astute, you can be what we call successful in financing. And you can walk in a room and have a certain air about yourself that I know it all but that's not how you really, really connect to your mentees, where they can be vulnerable enough to be able to open up, to be able to be secure around you, to show you their vulnerabilities. And that's where the true healing begins.
Yeah, so clearly mentors can help you by reminding you of your why, help you visualize your goals, point out opportunities that you might miss, remind you that you're not alone, and how to lead with balance, purpose, and heart. Plus, connect you to people that might help you move forward. So, a mentor mentee relationship, be it formal or informal, can help you in a lot of different ways. See, I went to Central State University, and that's when I realized that mentorship and learning collide. They went hand in hand. And what I found throughout my journey is I've been blessed with mentors at every level. I gave you a couple of those. I was asked recently, who was one of the mentors at Central State, one of your professors? I mean, I mentioned Mr. Reekman, but there were so many more. I can't just name one because they all had an impact on me throughout my career. But they stood by me through tough moments. And I've shared this before and I'll share it again. 2 days before my 19th birthday, my mother made her transition and I found myself at a crossroads. And instead of me saying, I'll go back to Detroit and I'll just figure it out, I actually chose to return back to Central State. I was looking at my transcript that year that occurred, and during that year, I got all A's. Not that I didn't get A's normally, but it was interesting to just see the pattern after the fact, that I was so focused on finishing and so focused on, understanding that I had now created or become a part of an extended family. And through my grief, this community became my support system. Where I say often, I got all my sisters with me because clearly that was a part and a time for me where I needed to be lifted up.
Well, that is also a hallmark of a person who has greatness in them because really, you really find out what a person is when their back is against the wall. Really find out what a person is when they don't have can't see their way out. And I think that that is one of the things that I've been attracted to you, Angela, because you have always been able to transcend. You're not just tread it and got along to get along. You have always been able to transcend. And so we talked about mentor mentee relationships from the perspective of a child and our how we've been conditioned and our parents and our family and our culture and our structure. We talked about mentor mentee relationships from the perspective of business, finding somebody who can help you get over those barriers and over those humps, and in education, but I think this is where the rubber meets the road, and this is where you get all of your practices from when it comes to mentor-mentee relationships is in your personal relationship, in your daily personal relationship with your mate. Because, we can get away from mentors and mentees and come home and relax, but your partner is always, for the most part, is gonna be there when you up, when you down, when you're not looking good, when you're looking good, when you're vulnerable, when you're sick, all of those different areas, in your personal relationship, your partner is gonna be there. And this is another thing about mentor-mentee relationships and personal relationship is that, a lot of time when our guards are down, then our ego comes to the surface. When, uh, you feel like, you're angry and you can't hide it because you're there in in the same house with that person. A lot of times you can go home and look at TV and mind your own business, but when that person is there, you can't hide it. So how you become and exemplify your behavior patterns and understanding what your partner is about and understanding his triggers and understanding her trigger and understanding how to be a mentor or mentee in the midst of being angry, that is some hard work. And that is where I think you can really develop and you can really grow from yourself and your personal relationship if you're able to overcome those barriers and hurdles.
Exactly. Your personal relationship does come into effect as well, which is why I think it's important to have the right partner. But a good mentor doesn't only help you learn new skills, but they also help build confidence. And that definitely holds true in your personal relationships as well. So to see the potential in another person and be able to impart that on that person is important. That's what a mentor does. And interesting enough, the mentoree usually reciprocates that. That's the kind of support that changes everything.
Well, I would say this, and as a man and as the head of my household, and as I watch my mentor mentee relationship with my dad was the greatest mentor, and he was the worst mentor at the same time. But what I was been able to learn is what not to do in a lot of cases. And I've been able to embrace what I could take from that relationship in a lot of cases. Because you can have a mentor and mentee relationship, but it's what you do with the information. It's how you apply it to your life and affect other people's life. You can learn from a mentor, but what are you going to do with it? So for me, when I thought about this conversation, I'm like, if I'm the head of my household and I am the man of the house, how do I exemplify a mentor mentee relationship and what does that look like? For me, there's no way that I could um, understand how to be in that position if I don't understand you, if I don't understand your needs, if I don't understand your desires, if I don't understand your fear, if I don't understand your past and what you've been through as a little girl growing up when it comes to relationships with men, there's no way in the world I can just be an effective mentor in my household with my wife if I don't understand her. So I have to understand your fears. I have to understand your pains. I have to understand your desires. I have to understand what your passion is. All of that is required. That's why I say mentor relationship has to come from a place of compassion and of love. And not only that, but as a mentor, the best way that I can exemplify me as the man of the house, as a mentor, is not what I say. Yeah, I can say a lot of eloquent things that make sense, but it's what I do. Don't judge me by what I say. Look at it, what I do. And it's not the big thing. It's the simple thing. It's taking out the garbage. It's making sure you okay. It's making sure we share things together. It's making sure you see what a man is supposed to be in a household if you had never seen it before. So for me, as the man of the household, and as a mentor, is the mentor and mentee because not only am I giving and trying to teach, but I'm also learning at the same time because I have to learn in order for me to be an effective teacher. And that is, I think, the reciprocal nature of a enlightened relationship when it comes to two people. Because what happens is that at a certain point, it comes to a point where it might not be good for each other. You might come to a mentor mentee relationship that says, okay, this is not working. And so therefore, we need to do something different. We need maybe to go our separate ways. So all of those things is involved when it comes to a personal relationship, mentor mentee.
Yeah, a mentor mentee relationship is definitely a support system. It's a community, it's a connection, and is one of the ways to keep on learning in life. But starting out in business, a mentor can help you in another way. And I mentioned it earlier, and that is accountability. Now, what do you mean by this? Well, you want to start a business. It's easy to lose momentum when things get tough. I've been in that situation a lot of times, and it's difficult when you are overwhelmed. A mentor helps you stay grounded. They check in with you, they remind you about your passion, and they make sure you don't get stuck in your head.
Yes, that is, it goes back to purpose. It goes back to what you enjoy doing. And if you have a mentee who are stuck in their head, then you have to figure out what are the trigger? What is it that I need to do to help you to overcome those particular things so that you can see how you can get there? How do you become that light where that person can now see to or be able to overcome where they're trying to go?
So they're asking you questions like, did you follow through? What's the next step? What's holding you back? It's a little bit of tough love, but this tough love matters because it helps you grow in discipline and consistency. When someone's rooting for you, they're pushing you to rise to the occasion. And I think at the end of the day, that's the difference between a good mentor and a not so good mentor.
Yeah, well, as a dad who has a grown son, Um, I think a lot of times you have to let them make mistakes. You have to let them do what they do so that they can learn. A lot of times we are like trying to make sure everything go perfect and they don't skin their knees and they don't fall or anything like that. But I mean, when you look at the birds, when you look at nature, nature is about only the strongest survive. And even the birds, at a certain point, the mother bird kicked the little birds out the nests because they know that either they're gonna learn how to fly or they're gonna get eaten. So to be able to have that tough love that you talked about and to be able to understand that that is a part of the required lesson of a mentor. See, it's real easy as a mentor to always be there and give them what they need and say, but it's hard to say, no, I know you mad. I know you angry, but you got to do it for yourself. But guess what? One of these days you're going to realize and say, thank you, dad.
And you were a good dad in that way. You weren't always given that sergeant major energy, shouting orders, but instead, it was pretty straightforward. Your conversation was helping Emmanuel refocus, reset, and keep on going when things got tough. So if you're listening and you're wondering how to find a mentor, you want to start by looking for people who inspire you, not just in business, but in character and personality. Because as Emmanuel said earlier, there are some things that you may find in people that you really, really like. And there's other things you may say, oh, I don't want to do that. So you learn the type of person that you want to be by seeing things that you choose not to do.
Yeah, and it's always, important to be able to be well rested. You know, it's important to be able to take care of yourself because if you're sick, if you're miserable, if you're not aware enough to be able to see clear enough, then you're going to always make decisions based on your state of consciousness. You know, because I think one of the most important things that each individual has to be responsible for is their state of consciousness. How am I feeling? How am I feeling? What am I going through? What am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I tired? Am I, and how do you determine your state of consciousness? Is your degree of presence. How present am I to be able to see and be aware of that? And in doing that, that could be a very important um, determining factor in terms of how you interact, or even if you interact with anybody on that particular day.
Yeah. So if you're in a position of being a mentor, don't underestimate your influence. And in this case, don't overestimate it either. So you don't have to be perfect, but you just got to be willing to share your journey honestly, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So someone's out there and they need the story that you've lived. And here's an opportunity for us all to rise up because we can lift each other up by sharing. That's what we call the mentorship effect. So here's some tips. Don't be afraid to ask someone that you admire to help you excel. After all, you're paying them a compliment. Send them a short email or invite them to a 10-minute virtual coffee and introduce yourself. Tell them what you're looking for. Tell them what you're trying to achieve. Be respectful of their time. That's important because we're all busy. And you want to reach out, ask questions, and you want to show up. Mentorship starts with curiosity and respect. And it's a two-way street. We mentioned that earlier. One thing that I've learned as a mentor is that the learning never, ever stops. When you think you're teaching, but you're really still a student. And that's wonderful.
Well, thank you for that, Angela, because I will say in my closing remarks is we've been on this journey together for almost 30 years. And I'm always amazingly surprised at your depth of strength, at your courage, and at your brilliance of being able to overcome and evolve and transcend. And so, me being able to have that close in person view, I would say that you have been my greatest mentor. So, I just want to say thank you for that. And I'm going to continue to have my notebook and my pen and my pad, and I'm going to constantly be taking notes because My goal as a mentor is to continue to learn as a mentee.
Yes, because learning comes from both sides. And what we know for sure is we create that same type of mentor mentee relationship with our franchisees too. So we're showing them the business model that they can use, that they can always bring in something that they bring to the table. We'll call that their little mix, which is also rewarding, but be willing to stay open and learn a proven process. So, mentorship, again, is a two-way street. You give, you receive, you grow together. I believe that's what it takes to keep a business and a community alive. So, mentors are humble. So, thank you, Emmanuel. But people bring new perspective and new energy and fresh ideas. And the only way that we can receive that is to be open. So when you start to notice that ripple effect, one conversation, one piece of advice, you can change how someone leads, thinks, or believes in themselves. That's the mentorship effect in action. Lessons learned, lessons passed on. So with the help of my mentors, I've learned how to balance it off. I want to pay it forward. And here are some ways that you can give back. Everybody has the opportunity to give back. Share your experience with someone starting out. Don't expect anything in return. Just share your experience. Even a short conversation can make a difference. Be generous with your knowledge. Speak at a local event, join a panel, or host a workshop in your community. Offer encouragement. All of us need encouragement. Sometimes all someone needs is to hear, "You've got this." Create opportunities. Recommend someone for a role. Introduce them to your network or open a door you once walked through. Be available, even when you're busy. The best mentors aren't perfect, but they are present. So thank you all for tuning in into our first episode of 2026. Emmanuel?
Well, I would like to add this as well as we close the show. It's very important to be alert and to be aware because you never know what a person is going through. And a simple, kind gesture can be the difference between life and death.
Yeah, so a bit of encouragement to turn your passion into a career path is great. So we'll be back soon bringing you more details, learning and living your best life. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe so you never forget an episode. Emmanuel?
Yes. Well, thank you guys for being a part of our podcast over the years. And we're going to keep bringing you more good information so that you can take it home and use it for your own purpose.
So here's to a great 2026. Until next time, more details, please. Angela?
And Emmanuel Williams.
Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to More Details, Please, presented by Emmanuel and Angela Williams from Detail Experts, the mobile steam cleaning company dedicated to protecting the planet. Be sure to subscribe to More Details, Please on your favorite podcast platform. You can also follow us on Facebook at Detail Experts and visit detailexperts.net. That's DETAILXPERTS.net. We hope you've gained some valuable insights from our conversations today. Stay driven by curiosity, and we'll bring you more details next time.